Welcome everybody to both sides of the conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going to have another Sunday conversation as we do every week at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am excited today because this month we've been talking about domestic violence. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and today's conversation I think is a very, very important conversation. We talk about positive parenting and the approaches to avoid violence in our homes, in our community. I think this ties into everything. I keep telling everybody it's the adults that are the problems in our communities, in our homes sometimes, that are infecting our young people, and our young people are taking the behaviors of bad parenting, sometimes bad leadership, and taking this out into the community, and it's destructive in our community. So I'm excited today to have this conversation with community. We're looking forward for one of our other guests maybe pulling in a little later, but we have a phenomenal speaker, community organizer that is here today, and we're going to have a great conversation. With that being said, it's been hot, okay, community. I know everybody is burning up here in the Bay Area, and tomorrow I know some of the temperatures will be coming down, but this is the last day of the Blue Angels, and I know the city is packed with people moving around. The weather is great. Have a great time out there today. Enjoy the final day of the Blue Angels here in the city. Also, today is a big football game. The San Francisco 49ers are playing the Dallas Cowboys at Levi Stadium. So there's people trying to get out of the city, head down there for this amazing Sunday night matchup. And I know everybody fired up here in the Bay Area for tonight's game. So with that being said, I know we're going to lose some of our viewers today because people are out. And I know some folks reached out. They'll be listening in through the YouTube. You all are still welcome to leave comments in our live chat. If you're on our YouTube, use the live chat function to ask questions to our panelists or to us today. Or if you want to put your comments and your perspectives in there, it'll be much appreciated for the community. But with that being said, we're going to jump into today's conversation. It's so many things coming on. I'm excited because this week has just been amazing. We had the Pathway to Parity event. When I talk about all of the level of information that came to our community, when we talk about Black economics, when we talk about Black revolution in economics, when we talk about the advancement of Black people and how do we transform where we at to the future. Wow, we had some phenomenal panelists. Maybe you missed some of that. We did stream it live. Go to our YouTube, check out the Pathway to Parity event. It was an amazing event. We ended at the City Hall for a night of engagement and fun, networking. It was great. So definitely, community, go check out if you missed any parts of it, as folks around the country are still working together to find out what does reparations look like? How do we bring Black economics in this ecosystem to move forward? And there's some amazing legislators and folks that are doing work behind the scene to really change policy and change the way we think about economics and how it affects the Black and brown community. So I'm excited to be a part of the process as we continue to grow and we continue to uplift the people and bring information to really change the narrative in our community. When we talk about economics, I'm excited about it. But with that being said, Brother Mark, you here? Talk to the people today, brother.
I was always grateful to be here, Bishop, on both sides of the conversation for another Sunday conversation. Community, nothing but love. Absolutely hope all the information and conversations are helping us to move collectively forward in ideas, but also help that we're translating that into immediate actions, because again, faith without works is dead. So glad to be here for the conversation side of it.
Wow, definitely, man. It always works that way. And I'm just glad to have you here. The voice is here on this nice Sunday afternoon to continue to further change the narrative with our community. With that being said, Queen Isle, you here, you back. Holla at the people. What's going on with you, Isle?
Good afternoon, community. Happy Sunday. We're ready for all of these great events that we have going on in San Francisco. We've had a very productive week in San Francisco. And I'm just excited. Everything that's going on, the changes that are happening, the influences that are coming in. I'm excited for our city. I'm excited for our communities, everything going on, and the collectiveness of each community coming together and actually trying to make a change. So I'm very excited for everything that's going on.
Isn't it just a powerful thing, Isle? You have, the work you've been continue doing, but just to be a part of it, it's always a great thing when I'm around. You're like, hey, I connected with Isle. Oh, you know what? Isle's amazing. I mean, don't it feel good to just be like a part of what's going on.
It
Seeing
does.
the energy, seeing the energy. Like sometimes you have to see people excited about events and positivity and things happening, change happening. And we got a change maker that's gonna be here today talking. So I'm excited because when I look at the future of San Francisco, we have people like Joffrey. We have people like EJ. We have people that are young in our age group that we get to see that's going to change the landscape politically, locally, community. Like this, I get excited because I'm like, these is people I know. I walk on the side of these people. I've watched these people develop. And when we talk about what this new leadership is coming to look like, whoo, I'm excited because it's some new energy, new ideals. And I'm just excited to walk on the side of these amazing, amazing community heroes. When we talk about history, I think we're writing history as we're going along. And that's the coolest part of it all, to just see the amazing folks bring their talent, their knowledge, and their commitment to people. I think we're headed somewhere community. So with that being said, Brother Mark, jump into the news so we can get to today's conversation. And then Io, you'll take care of all of the events for the day.
Absolutely got you covered, Bishop. All right, community, let's go ahead and jump into the headlines. And the first couple of headlines are all local. We're going to start with the insidious threat that is suffocating most vulnerable SF residents. Gregory Johnson, a resident at the Vincent Hotel in San Francisco's Tenderloin District, has raised concerns about the declining air quality inside his room. The Vincent Hotel, over a century old, has been converted into a single-room occupancy housing for low-income San Franciscans. Many such residents worry about poor air quality in these accommodations, especially as many are situated in highly populated neighborhoods like the Tenderloin, Bayview, Soma, Mission, and Chinatown. Advocates point out that these vulnerable communities face significant air quality issues worsened during wildfire seasons, and the air inside these buildings often suffers from a lack of ventilation and filtration, exacerbating the problems caused by outdoor pollutants. Additional headline: San Francisco accused of failing to train workers who clear homeless camps. A federal lawsuit against San Francisco accused the city of inadequate training workers tasked with clearing homeless tent encampments. Attorneys representing the nonprofit Coalition on Homelessness and other plaintiffs allege that the sole formal training provided is a 30-minute PowerPoint presentation which fails to instruct workers on proper protocols for handling the belongings of unhoused individuals. The city's attorney office refutes these claims, asserting that the training is in compliance with city policies and a court injunction. The trial for this lawsuit is set to begin April 15th, 2024. Also, San Francisco Bay Area gets record-breaking high temperatures, but rain is on the way. The Bay Area has experienced record-breaking temperatures over the weekend, with some locations tying or surpassing their previous daily record highs. However, a shift in weather is expected as the marine layer returns and a cold front approaches, promising light showers early in the week, and the National Weather Service reported. While temperatures are predicted to decrease to the upper 60s and low 70s at the start of the week, they are anticipated to rise slightly by midweek, with conditions becoming more seasonally average by mid to late October. And finally, in national headlines, a shooting at Bowie State University in Maryland leaves 2 injured, say police, who believe more than one shooter was involved. 2 19-year-old men were injured during a shooting at Bowie State University in Maryland on its homecoming weekend. Neither of the victims were students at Bowie State or the nearby Morgan State University. This incident follows a recent shooting at Morgan State University where 4 students and another individual were wounded during their homecoming event. Although authorities believe the shooting at Bowie State to be an isolated incident, they suspect the involvement of multiple shooters. No suspects have been identified yet, and in response to the incident, Bowie State has canceled Monday classes and is offering 24-hour counseling service to its students. And that's going to do it for the news. It's kind of tragic that they have that kind of stuff going on college campuses. I just had this conversation. My daughter's a freshman at Texas State University down here, and safety is just one of those things as a parent you think about when your children are away at school, and you never want to hear these kind of things happening.
Yeah, wow, very tragic stuff, and definitely will ask Joffrey. I know her child's in college. I have a number of nieces and nephews that are in college right now, and it's very tragic. As we try to prepare our young people and equip them with the tools that they need to be successful and future leaders and things of that nature. To have to go to school and worry about who's going to come in shooting or what's going to take place is very disheartening to hear. But again, when we talk about violence in this month, we're going to continue to talk about the violence that impacts our community, and gun violence is a part of it. So, interesting conversations coming up throughout the month and next month. So I'm excited about that. But Sister Io, go ahead and get to the community events for the community.
We'll get right into it. San Francisco Parental Coalition Community Meeting, Fixing the SFUSD Budget, with special guest Lakeisha Young, founder and CEO of parent group Oakland Reach. Learn about the SFUSD budget crises and make your voice heard. Wednesday, October 11th at 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Southeast Community Center, 1550 Evans Avenue in San Francisco. SF Rebels presents the SF High and Middle School Night Fair, October 11th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the San Francisco Boys and Girls Club, Don Fisher Clubhouse, located at 380 Fulton Street in San Francisco. This event is open to all 5th through 8th graders. Come and learn about the application process and financial aid from SF area top schools. Join the conversation at the YMCA Men's Harambe Cuts Shop Talk for ages 14 and up, with complimentary refreshments and swag. Thursday, October 12th, 2023 at 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the Bayview YMCA, 1601 Lane Street in San Francisco. Join B Magic for the 40th Bayview National Night Out, October 13th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Ruth Williams Opera House, located at 4705 3rd Street, or Joseph Lee Rec Center, located at 1598 Oakdale Avenue in San Francisco. There will be a kids zone, free food, resource fair, talent show, and more. Discover CCSF for 12th grade families Saturday, October 14th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Ocean Campus at 15 Frida Kahlo Way in San Francisco. In the multi-use building 140, come out and learn why City College in San Francisco is a great choice. Wham Fest invites vendors to apply for a space at the Western Edition Music Festival featuring Najee, The Stylistics, Blue Magic, and more. The event will be held on Saturday, October 14th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Fillmore Street from Geary to Turk Street in San Francisco. Thousands will attend. Space is limited. Push Dance Company Sanctuary grand opening will be Sunday, October 15th, 2023 at 447 Mina Street in San Francisco. International Shakeout Day, October 19th, 2023. Join in on the world's largest earthquake drill. Register to participate. Join SFUSD for the 2024-2025 Pre-K to 12th enrollment fair on Saturday, October 21st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at John O'Connell High School, located at 2355 Folsom Street in San Francisco. Meet our schools, learn how to apply, learn about language programs and special education. There will be food and music and childcare available. Also, free book giveaways, and you can enter to win a grocery gift card. YCD presents the second annual District 10 Safety Plans Violence Prevention Peace Rally. There will be food, vendors, raffles, music, and more. Saturday, October 21st, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Monarch Gardens, 428 11th Street in San Francisco. The First Responders Career Pathways Fair invites those who are interested in becoming an EMT, nurse, firefighter, or paramedic to come out and meet local community-based organizations and city and county departments to learn about the First Responders Career Pathways program on Sunday, October 22nd from noon to 5 p.m. at the San Francisco City Hall North Court, located at 1 Dr. Carlton B. Goodlett Place in San Francisco. Fatherhood Reimagined Therapy Group. Tuesday nights, 6 to 7:30 p.m., starting 1024 Father to Founders 232 6th Street in San Francisco. San Francisco Alliance of Black School Educators invites you to the 14th Annual BSU Summit 2023 on Friday, October 27th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Doors open at 8:30 a.m. at the Milton Marks Conference Center located at 455 Golden Gate Avenue in San Francisco. Youth empowerment, free breakfast and lunch, game and prizes. San Francisco Safe will have a Halloween candy explosion on Saturday, October 29th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Admission is free and the event will include food, carnival games, music, and more at Gilman Park, 903 Gilman Avenue in San Francisco. Join Into Action for the Bayview Uncorked Southeast San Francisco celebration on Saturday, November 11th from 1 to 5 p.m. at Pier 70, Building 12, located at 8 and 22nd Street in San Francisco. Farmers Market located at the Southeast Community Center, 1550 Evans Avenue, San Francisco, Thursday now through November 30th, 3 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. They accept cash, debit, and EBT. San Francisco NAACP celebrates 95 years of service at the annual Freedom Fund Gala, December 1st at the Hyatt Regency Grand Ballroom located at 5 Embarcadero Center in San Francisco. Reception starts at 6 p.m. with dinner and program to follow. This year, keynote speaker is Dr. Frederick D. Haynes III, president of the Rainbow Push Coalition. Single tickets are $150 and tables of 10 are $1,500. OMI Cultural Participation Projects, The Lion King, Friday, December 8th, 7:30 p.m. at the Orpheum Theater, 1192 Market Street in San Francisco. The San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee cordially invites you to be a part of the conversation every second Monday in 2023. You may attend in person at City Hall located at 1 Dr. Carlton B. Goodlake Place or online by registering at the link below. Dream Keepers San Francisco invites you to join us for our community updates every third Wednesday in 2023. These meetings are open to the public via Zoom. Wu Yi presents the Holiday Pajama Jam for the Bottles and Blankets Pantry Saturday, December 16th from 1 to 4 p.m. at 4900 3rd Street in San Francisco. They are a new nonprofit and donations are needed. OMI Cultural Participation Project, The Wiz, Saturday, January 27th in 2024, 7:30 p.m. at the Golden Gate Theater, 1 Taylor Street in San Francisco. San Francisco Human Rights Commission has a regular bi-monthly commission meeting on the second and fourth Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. in the San Francisco City Hall Room 416. You can also attend via Zoom. Be a mentor in San Francisco Unified School District. Join SFUSD School-Based Mentoring Program, Mentoring for Success. Sign up to volunteer as an individual or group mentor district-wide. New vaccination site, COVID-19 booster and monkeypox antiviral pill treatment, Thursday, 1 to 5 p.m. at 330 Ellis Street, as well as Saturdays, 12 to 4 p.m. at 1221 Mission Street. The community living room open all day, Monday through Friday, breakfast at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and grab-and-go lunch from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. at City of Hope Cafe, 750 Ellis Street in San Francisco. Would you like to promote your business, nonprofit, or community impact? Sign up for your Hidden Gems show. Share your expertise on Educational Thursdays or be a panelist on Sunday's Conversation. Keep up with both sides of the conversation's latest shows and community outreach events. Follow us on all social media platforms. You can also subscribe to our newsletter at bsotc.org. BSOTC welcomes individuals who are interested in giving back to their community to join us as volunteers. We value the positive impact volunteers can make and invite you to be a part of our mission to uplift and support our community. BSOTC kindly requests your invaluable support for our podcast and community engagement endeavors. We cordially invite you to explore any of our donation links, as your generous contributions will greatly aid us in enhancing our programming. We would like to take this time to acknowledge the Dreamkeeper Initiative and its support of BSOTC's programming. The Dreamkeeper Initiative amplifies the voices and invests in San Francisco's diverse Black communities to reform public safety and address structural inequities in San Francisco. Join us this Tuesday, October 10th, for our Hidden Gem segment at 7 p.m. PST. Educational Thursdays with Ms. Cynthia and Mr. Sean Johnson.
All right, thank you for that. Get through the community announcements and events. And I just want to make this announcement because I know I've been getting calls, okay, from people in the community, people in Oakland, people in Richmond, Vallejo, even people in Sacramento. John, how do I get my event on there? All y'all got to do is send your events over to BSOTC at our events at BSOTC. Listen, we support all of the community organization. If you have an event that you're planning, you want to get out to the community, please submit them over to us so that we could get it out to community. Also, I want to go back to one of the events. I know on the screen you said for the Safe Halloween event, the 28th was Saturday, but it showed the 29th on our screen. So again, it is Saturday the 28th. San Francisco Safe is having their Halloween party, not Sunday the 29th. So just wanted to put that out there to clean up that on there. Also on October 21st, they're going to be having another community event at the San Francisco Shipyards in D10. Brother Malik and a number of the folks that are vendors over there are doing a tour and letting people know about what's going on in the Bayview Shipyard. I'll get that information out. I just got it yesterday, so I want to make sure community know. Also on the 21st, please go out to the Bayview Shipyard if you want to see what's going on. There's some amazing artworks and other vendors that are out there. So go check out the Bayview Shipyard and see what's going on over there in D10. And also that evening, they're going to be having that comedy show with Supervisor Shaman Walton, Corey, and Craig, and all those folks. So I want to make sure we'll get that up on our events as well. I don't know. I got to get my events updated. I'm sorry, community. But with that being said, I know y'all been patient. We got to get to our community folks that are here. This sister we're going to bring up to the stage. Very powerful, influential sister, man, doing so many major things. And I'm telling you, the future is bright in San Francisco with her leadership and the things that she's bringing to the people, her energy, her strength, her resilience. Check her out. Miss Jafria Morris, a Black Woman Revolt, and many other hats you wear. Welcome back to Both Sides of the Conversation, Queen. How you doing? Talk to the people. Oh, you got to unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Jafria.
Thank you. I mean, how many times have we went through? You're on mute since the pandemic. It is great to be here. I don't think I've been on both sides of the conversation. I did the Hidden Gems showing. So this is my first time on both sides of the conversation, but definitely glad to be here. Here, a little fun fact. John Henry and I were in the same 5th grade class. So we go back a long, long time. But just an honor to be here on this platform that I know that really hits the core people that we are trying to work for, that we argue sometime with on community stuff, but know that the heart is there and the work is there. So glad to be here during Domestic Violence Awareness Month and just kind of talk about the stuff that we're offering at Black Women Revolt Against Domestic Violence. And another important fun fact is I'm the attorney at Black Women Revolt. So I am, and I'm becoming a community attorney where I'm getting a whole bunch of issues outside of domestic violence. But I hold that near and dear because God gave me the ability to pass the bar to be that kind of resource for community.
And again, want to say congratulations to you, our class, this group of 79 and 80. We are doing some amazing stuff, Joffrey, okay? And I just want to tell you that, just want to give you your kudos and your flowers because I know it's been a journey. And I was there when you guys sworn in by the mayor. And I was just excited because I was looking around the room. I said, man, people that grew up in my era is really moving and shaking. So just want to say thank you for your leadership and your commitment to fighting for justice in our community, fighting against domestic violence, and making sure folks understand what's going on. And just appreciate you here today. And I'm excited about this conversation because you not only being a parent, being in the community, dealing with some of the things that's taking place, your perspective is invaluable right now. I mean, to hear all the things that you do, and just I got to give you kudos. I just got to say this, man. Jafria has an amazing daughter. Let me tell you, this young lady is going to take over the future. She is wise. She is knowledgeable. I mean, you have poured in this young lady. Okay. I'm just telling you, she's going to take over. I'm just telling y'all, community, get ready. This young lady, Erica, is going to take over in so many ways. She is an organizer. She's a mobilizer. She is resilient. I mean, I don't even want to go there. I'll let you talk about your daughter, but I'm gonna just say this. When you have great parenting, Jafria is an example. When you talk about parenting, Ayo's a great example. When you talk about parenting, Mark is a great example. When you talk about parenting, I'm a great example. There's some amazing families in our community that really teach and uplift the next generation of children by our dedication, our love, our experience, and you see it displayed in the young people. I didn't even know when I first met your daughter that was your daughter. But the first time I met her, I said, wow, this young lady is powerful. I said, I want to know who your parents is. And they say, that's Jafria's daughter. I said, okay, it makes sense. Apple don't fall too far from the tree. So, it's a great thing. Great thing to have you. So I'm just honored to not only know you, been able to watch your daughter and her journey as she transitioned to college doing her thing. I mean, it's just phenomenal. But with that being said, community, we're going to get started with this conversation, but we'll let Brother Mark give us the framework of today's conversation, check out the intro and some of the quick stats, and then we're going to open it and let Jafria lead it after Mark give us some of these daunting stats and information about today's conversation. Go ahead, Brother Mark.
Absolutely. So parenting can be difficult even in the best of times, but various factors from systematic racism to the lack of community support can exacerbate frustrations, leading some parents to resort to violence at home. Also known as gentle parenting, positive parenting establishes fair, firm boundaries with children without harsh punishment. This approach ensures that a child's needs are met, their emotions are heard, and they are taught to consider others when expressing those needs and feelings. And today we'll discuss positive parenting approaches to avoid violence, sharing insights specific to Black families along with the resources available in San Francisco. Now, a couple stats that we have here. In California, African American children represented nearly 23% of child maltreatment victims, despite just being 5% of the total child population. And harsh physical punishment, including hitting, slapping, or spanking, is linked to increased aggression in children later on. But that's all. I think every Black person can of a certain age can relate to that there. One study found racial discrimination was linked to increased authoritarian parenting attitudes and reduced parental warmth among African American parents. And low-income Black children exposed to violence are more likely to perpetrate violent behavior, continuing the cycle. Black parents who reported expressing racial discrimination were 5 times more likely to spank their 1-year-old children. Just kind of read those stats, Bishop. I'll be quite honest. I'm reminded of the old song by Whitney Houston, and a lot of people have kind of did this song, but there are a couple lines right there. Is I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. I think that last stat, when it talks about continuing the cycles, at the end of the day, like you always say, when it comes down to it, we do have a lot of outside influences and circumstances. But at the end of the day, it's us as parents that have the main responsibility to be accountable for how our children turn out. So let's get into this conversation.
Man, definitely, Joffrey. We want to open it up to you and start it, and we'll just chime in and have a great dialogue. And I know we might have another guest joining us real shortly here. But you see this, you in this work, you understand passed down trauma, you understand how we grew up. We got spanked. I'm just telling y'all, we got spanked when we was coming up. But hearing these stats, hearing this data and this information, and then the work that you're doing with Black Women Revolt and some of the other organizing you work. Looking at it now holistically, give us some insight, Joffrey, because you deal with this on the daily. Give us something, and you can give it to us from a parenting perspective as well. But let's talk about this.
I would say I come in this work unique, right? Because not only do I have a law degree, I have a master's in social work. And prior to even moving over to my own nonprofit and kind of doing legal work, is that I worked for child welfare. I'm on here to tell you that I removed children from unfit homes. And so we have to understand systemic issues that impact our community, right? I, even as a child welfare worker to any supervisor, I do believe in spanking. I think spanking has, I think is organic. It's more organic than giving your kids medication. But I think it has to be tactful, and it has to be in a manner that you are trying to teach the child, and not always like, I mean, it's a strategic way to discipline your children, and and just cultural norms. And let's just be clear, like people of color use spanking as a mechanism. Whites use spanking as a mechanism. And so that jacket seems to come at us. And the reason why the stats are alarming for us is because of poverty. The poverty is so prevalent, is that we have so many eyes on us and our children, is that if everybody's looked in a fishbowl, if you're the only family in the fishbowl, then it's easy for people to nitpick any little thing about your parenting. Secondly, we cannot talk about the impact of the Black community without talking about the impact of the war on drugs in our community. John and I, he said, he's 79, I'm 80. Our parents were decimated, and we then got grown and went in the criminal justice system. Realignment did not come until 2010. So many of our friends went and did long time as well, and is coming home after 15 years. And so when you decimate a Black family, like the war on drugs, and we had at the top 1 million Black dads, 1 in 14 Blacks children had a child incarcerated, you already breaking down a family system. We already know about the FBI putting drugs in our community, and how crack cocaine took the mother out the household when heroin could not in the 70s. And so now, we came up in a crack baby era where people were being raised by grandparents, and some grandparents didn't make the way. And so like my generation now, those that are, I'm 43, that are in their 40s or late 30s are now your grandparents. And we didn't have the parent in the household of those born in the 60s and 70s, mid 70s. And so right now we're cultivating a whole new norm. That's what Black Women Revolt is. It's about creating, restoring the Black framework that we had in the 60s coming into the 70s. And so when people say, well, we need to get it together, when you look at everything, the war on drugs and the introduction of drugs into our community, you decimated us. And so now you have a new generation, those that was born in the 90s, 2000s, right? They're still in their early 30s and 20s. They are recreating the community, and with help of us or John, that we've been able to address trauma and get there, that we can be that kind of tutelage that this group needs. But I think whenever Black people read these stats, you have to understand, why was that stat? Why is it like that? And so when you have that, then we start saying, well, how can we address the problems now? So Black Women Revolt is about dealing with the whole family, not just with the mom. We're women centered, but the whole family. So if you want to stay with your mate and your mate is abusing you and you say, no, Jaffria, he is really good, it's just the drug, then we partner with Westside Mental Health, who's a fiscal sponsor, with Positive Direction Equals Change to get that brother into recovery. Because even kids are torn. Like, I love my mama, I love my daddy. And so you have to deal with the whole thing. And then sometimes we have to have that come to Jesus moment, is that this relationship is not healthy, sis. And we believe that you may die. And we'll tell you that. And this is, I'm gonna give you the legal component of what I believe we need to do to help there. And no, if you give us a number, I'll give his number to people in community that can help him if he wants the help. Similarly, if it's mental health, like I say, San Francisco is unique. We may only have 5%, but we have an intelligent 5%. If we got one therapist, let's overwork our one therapist. Let's overwork. Let's create these kind of pipelines. And so, like, I'm right now creating like this kind of southern neighborhood, people who live in Bayview, because that's where I'm born and raised. And that's where our largest concentration of Black people are now, right? Of creating this kind of consortium where we can, wherever we meet, do a person need parenting? How do we get you over to the Y for the programs that you have there, or these fatherhood programs? Well, we have to create the pipeline for people, because people are going everywhere, and they're going to a lot of people that are not Black, and that when we tell our trauma, they go put another system on top of our trauma. So Black Women Revolt is there to triage you and say, hey, when I send you over here to this non-Black organization, don't say that part. Don't say that part, because I'm not a mandated reporter. You know what I'm saying? So don't say that part, because you say that part, you may end up with CPS at your door. Don't say this, because that might hurt in your custody thing, right? Know how to ask what you want and give what's needed. Because sometimes a lot of our people over try to communicate everything, but the receiver of the information may not be the receiver for you. And so that's why we treat Black Women Revolt, because we're a small team. It's 6 of us now, in that we triage you. Let us put together your prescription to get your family right before you walk out this door, because I've seen people leave abusive relationships and go to women's centers in different counties, and CPS is coming to the hotel room that they just got because they told it to a mandated reporter. I can't fault the mandated reporter, but I think you should disclose, hey, you start telling me too much stuff, I'm a mandated reporter. And so the people, to give the mom that ability to extract only what's needed to not create a greater problem. So that is in a nutshell of what we're trying to do with Black Women Revolt, is to be that kind of family triage to get you to culturally responsive programming. And then if it's a program that you have to go through that's not a culturally responsive program that we will put a stamp on, but a good program in its own, we want to tell you how to deal with their staff so that you reap the benefits that you wanted to reap from the organization and not get the negative results that sometimes many Black women face.
Wow, I mean, very important stuff. Jeffrey, I want to take it back. I'm gonna open up to everybody, but I got to say this, because I'm glad you said that and from a legal standpoint, that it's okay to spank kids, because I've made that comment before, and I have people coming for me. You shouldn't do any spanking or anything with kids. I say, hey, there is some healthy discipline that kids need to understand. It's like when we say fire is hot, don't touch it. Sometimes you got to spank a kid and let them know, don't touch that, because they don't understand and process sometimes. Sometimes that's the correction that sometimes is needed. So I'm glad you said that. And then when you talk about court mandated reporters and things of that nature, and I'm always an advocate for doulas, and I'm saying we need to create doulas for all these different topics and things that we're dealing with, because we need advocates. And one of the biggest things that I'm finding in this working with community, is folks don't know how to advocate for themselves in these systems and in these situations. And we need to create some kind of doula system, or like you said, a navigation point for folks to help people. And with that being said, because I know we got educators watching, I know we got different folks and nurses and people that watch this platform, and I want to make sure to our Black providers and our Black nurses and our Black educators, I think what you said was so powerful. When they do come in contact with parents and they're doing assessments and they taking information, to at least say, hey, you know, certain things you say I can say, because again, I don't think that it's always that it's going to be violence or something happen. But when you look at what's going on with CPS, I'm doing some work right now with these folks with child support. The family court system here in this country is a mess. Okay. And like you said, you can compile a situation, make it worse by removing a family, dismantling a family just that quick. When these folks report and CPS remove the children from the family, changes that family dynamic, sometimes impact that family's financial resources. There's a lot of damage and harm that can come from one complaint or one issue that's not culturally appropriate. You know, investigating and seeing from the lens of folks like you, Joffrey, or other folks in our community that understand what's going on. But with that being said, there are some situations where we need to protect those kids and things happen. And again, it's about that understanding and that family dynamic. And sometimes there are weeks and weeks and months of different folks involved with these families and have a better understanding. But we got to be able to draw that line, because again, like you said, we can cause more harm sometimes to the families that are dealing with these situations. And we know, like you said, when it comes to Black and brown communities, okay, CPS is more stringent on removing kids from our community. It might be less stringent to remove folks from other communities. And this is why I'm saying we have to be careful, and it's important to have these conversations. I want to thank you again for being here, because this is the information. These are the conversations that we got to continue to have in our community to uplift and educate our community about what's going on, and also how to navigate these systems for support and resources, because sometimes we just don't get it. But one of the other parts that I want to talk to you about, and we'll get through it, as I know Ayo and Mark will have questions and kind of part of this conversation. You know, when you talk about how the fathers of the families were removed and dismantled from the way legislative processes was put in place, the stuff that took place in our community. And I want to hear your perspective on it, because now as we're shifting into this new paradigm, like you said, of younger people getting involved, I'm one of those grandfathers, okay? I had my granddaughter. My daughter had my granddaughter when I was 35 years old. So that young papa that you talk about, that's me. I was the 35-year-old papa. Now I'm the 44-year-old papa. So it's a different, you know, perspective and lens as you go through some of that process. But when we talk about activated men in our community, and shout out to the Baby Y, shout out to my guy Elgin Rhodes down there at Cold Tenderloin. He's doing a fatherhood program. We need more of this in our community. But what's happening, Joffrey, is as men, some of the men in the community are trying to get involved in these processes. There seems to be some roadblocks. How do we also advocate to make sure that funding and resources get to the men community groups that are trying to change the narrative, and at least have those conversations? Because I'm in agreement that we need male mentorship in all of our middle schools, elementary schools, high schools. We need to start creating pathways for brothers to get involved as well. And how do we get the women of our community, some of our community organization leaders, to also understand we have to work hand by hand with these brothers, and also financially support them in capacity and technical assistance, so that we can have a consistent message in our community to help uplift these young brothers of the community?
Well, I'm an old-fashioned Black person. You know, let me just say that I'm an old-fashioned Black. So when I say that my great grandmother raised me, that's 1921. So I'm just like, I just know that lens when I come in, because we don't complain, we just start doing work. So I would push back on the youngsters and look at the adult men. I think like the mentorship needs to happen with men that are 26 out of Tay, right? 26 to like really 40, especially if you feel like you are Black, because men need men. And let me tell you, Vic shout out to Vic, who is at probation. When I used to work for probation, he used to run a class called Fathers Matters, and he was deeply involved in Fathers Matters. And the relationships that he will cultivate in a 12-week cognitive behavioral therapy type group with a man was incredible, right? Because men is like, we do, sisters is that everything. We at the community events, we at the church, we at the grocery store. Men, they like in an island, unless it's about like cars or making money. If you got cars making money, you're gonna see men come. And this is a big man environment.
In sports. You got to throw the sports in there.
In sports, right? And so you have to take where places where men naturally gravitate to and really create that stuff. Because I think a lot of men do want to be mentored, but it can't come from Joffrey. It can't. It has to come from Mark. It has to come from John. And you talked all that great about my daughter. I have an amazing husband, right? So it has to come from Eric that don't want to be bothered still, right? But it has to come from them kind of men that is raising good families, that's being a good papa, to sit there and model and mentor. And people think like I have mentors that's younger than me. Because let me tell you, these ones that's born in the 90s, they talk to white people cold sometimes. And I be like, "Ooh, is we gonna still get money from them?" Like, but that's they framework, right? Because the level of racism or system build up back, that we used to face, we'd be like, "Oh, you gotta be a little nicer, you gotta do this kind of finessing." Where 90s, 2000s, they be like, "Bust burn down the system," right? And I follow them because I'd be like, "Oh, maybe I'm being too conservative on my approach." And just understanding that it's that age has nothing to do with mentorship. It is stuff that you don't know that I know. It is stuff that someone else don't know that I know. So it's reciprocal, right? And so I love these man groups. But I think it also is like, get out of organizations like men, like we like fishing or like sports, like creating those kind of greater kind of natural fraternal type groups, right? You don't have to go to college. We used to have, the Black community used to have a lot of Masons, Elks, deacons. I'm in a Black sorority, but like fraternities and all different stuff, bike clubs. These are all organizations where men can sharpen men. And so that's what I'm saying is that I'm more like, we spend so much on the kids, and I'd be like, but they go home to these parents that's messed up. And we need to start investing, and we need to advocate on a community level for more money to be given to parents 25 to like 45. Because that is where the problem, because if I change your mama, I change you. If I change your dad, I change you. But we spend so much on kids that we don't see an hour or 2 hours, and they go home and they with them 12 hours. Look, come on, Ayo, jump in.
Wait, jump in. I'm gonna let Ayo go, but I want to say this. I'm glad you said. See, this is why I love my sister, because she keep it real. But I'm glad you say it, because I tell these women, you gotta let a man be a man. Some of these mothers out here, they always say, "John, I want a male to mentor my kid." Then we do the male thing. Then they come back. "Oh, well, you can't be so hard on them." Hold on. If you're going to ask me to be a man and lead this young brother, let me lead the brother. I'm so glad you said it, because it's these women out here think, "Oh, no, I can teach a man. I can do this." And I'm glad you said it, because I think women need to hear from other women. I'm like, sister, let the brothers do it. Find a brother, find an uncle, find a community, find some male that's doing positivity to engage them with your young son if you're a single mother. And when they mentor them, sisters, step back. Step back and just allow them brothers to be the mentors so that they could build the greatness out of these young men. And again, lastly, before I give it to Ayo, I'm glad you said it. See, y'all heard from Joffrey, it's not me. The adults is the problem. I keep saying it. What is going on across this country? It's the adults. These young people are watching the adults We as elders in the community, older people, whatever you want to call yourself, if you're over 25, if you're over 35, if you're over 45, if you're over 55, male and female, we are doing a disservice to the young people. They are watching us, our behavior, our professionalism, the way we handle each other. They're watching it, and it's very disgusting in our community to watch the way the level of the way adults handle each other and deal with each other. I'm like, I was just telling somebody the other day, how do we expect young people to put their guns down and deal with conflict when I got two adults out here yelling and screaming in the streets? How am I supposed to teach young people to forgive and work together when I got organizations that don't work together? How do we have a disagreement and still work together? If the young people is watching us, they saying, oh, y'all want us to put our guns down? Oh, y'all want us to work with this brother? Y'all are adults and y'all can't even work with each other. I hear women talking about, oh, I don't mess with her. I ain't working with her. I got brothers over there. Oh, mess, forget him. He ain't. Like, this is what we doing. And you know what? The kids are watching. They're listening. And they said, hey, why should I change my behavior? Look at y'all behavior. So again, I agree with you 100%. We need to invest in mental health services. We need to invest in educational services, parenting for our adults. Because I'm just telling you, man, the adults are the problem in our community. I say it all the time. I'm at juvenile. I'm in these courtrooms. I see these parents coming here. And I'm going to just tell you, some of these parents are terrible. I got kids being honest, Mark. They'll tell the truth. And I got parents on there lying. I said, what is going on? We got to fix this in our community. But I don't want to take up no more time. I'll jump in there, Mark. But I'm glad Joffrey is here. Because, see, it's not just me, community. Even Joffrey think the adults are the problem.
But in all honesty, because of model behavior, right? So where do you think your child is going to get those actions from? Model behavior. I will say one thing, I agree with everything totally what you said, John Freya. I have a 16-year-old son. And for the longest, I believe in therapy. We did family therapy, but for the most part, we were paired up with someone who was not from our community. And as I noticed in educating myself, a pet peeve is paraphrasing for me in therapy. You're just repeating everything I said because you cannot relate to what I'm telling you. I saw a drastic difference when my son got a Black male therapist. He started doing the work. He understood the tools that were given to him. He understood the time that was taken with him, and he got to be able to talk to somebody freely that could relate to him and that could actually show him, hey, young man, these are the hardships you're going to be going up against. This is what you're really going to have to face. It ain't no sugarcoating here. Their conversation puts a lit of fire under my son that has been like spearheading everything that he has going on. Mentorship. I feel like that is so important, especially having a Black male mentor, someone for my son to go to. I am a single mother of 2 boys. I say it with every fathom and fabric inside of me. I cannot teach those young men how to be men. I have no way to empathize with what they're going to have to face. I can give you good morals and values as a person, but I cannot show you how to be a man. It is very important that my village consists of strong role models, male role models, Black male role models for my children to be able to be successful and to learn how to deal with everything that's going to be thrown at them. Even at my son's young age and everything that he had to go through, his challenges, it was very imperative to me that he had a Black mentor, somebody that he can confide in and can actually show him and relate to him and show him, hey, young man, you think this is bad? Wait till you get up here. And when he got to that other age, going through hormones and all those things, he still had that lifeline. He still has it at 16, has that lifeline where he can tap into. It's very important. As a single mother, like I said, model behavior is very important. What my children see, how I hustle, how I get up, my work ethic, my morals, my values, my integrity are very important. in the way that they will be coming up. Because I can't be lazy, laxated, and expect for them to put in 100% in school or anything that they're doing if they're not getting that at home. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. Everything you said, Joffrey, seriously.
Well, I mean that is the case, right? And I also want us to be like, we can't be ashamed of being Black. We are Black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I get off here, I'm probably gonna go fry some chicken, and watch this evening Niner game. That's what we can't be ashamed of being Black. So therapy, parenting classes, but we also have a village, and it don't have to fall into the prescription of, is this triple P, certified parenting? Is this, if I go talk to my pastor, is that approved? Like, we have innate spiritual ways that we deal with stuff. And we have to be able to use what we've done historically to get over trauma. And of course, as any species evolves, you deal with new technology like formal therapy, like triple P classes or whatever. But let's not forget, we are descendants of slaves. And we couldn't have got right here if we didn't have some kind of way of healing. So hold fast, like, because I hear when I'm in a lot of Black settings, is that we don't have to take everything westernized professionals want to give us. We can push back. And I tell Black people all the time, if you feel like what services you not, you can say, is there someone Black that can help me? I feel like it's a cultural dynamic that is missing here. And I need you to have someone culturally responsive. Black people are so less likely to say that. And people think because you speak English, you speak Black. You don't. And some people think because you look Black, you gonna speak Black back to me. No. It's a case by case scenario. Most times when you look Black, it do work for me, right? But it is something that you'd be like, nah, bring the white girl back. She was better, or bring the Asian. And that's okay. And we have to identify, like, nah, I'm going to use Sherry because I don't like the way Taisha talked to her, and you have to be there. But Black people should never be ashamed to ask stuff that work for you well. Because this is your life. You're creating your own prescription of life and resiliency. And so, when John was saying something, is a lot of Black people are scared of white people. And y'all know I'm Charlie Walker granddaughter. And I have to really say that, is that you'll be surprised when authority figures come, our people sometimes just concede to everything. Don't push back. But if I come in and say the same thing, what you mean, Joffrey? I need that same energy, Queen, King, for these other people, because you're sometimes forfeiting so many of your rights. You're giving people access to where they should not have access because the power dynamics. And when it's Black, you sometimes push back, but when it's not a Black person in a power dynamic, people can see. So your rights are your rights, regardless of who bringing them to you or who trying to extinguish your rights. Okay. And so be good with what grandma taught you. A lot of stuff grandma taught me still work, but some of the stuff don't. And knowing how to mix and match for your type of surrounding. And that's a Black Women Revolt. Like, not only am I running a program, I am very active politically, and I'll write up legislation and I'll lobby my legislation because we have to create Black space. Everywhere else can give you, if you speak Cantonese, they're going to find you a Cantonese speaker. If you speak Tagalog, Spanish, they're going to find people for you. We have a right to ask for people that work for us in these systems, and we don't have to concede. And if you feel like you're not giving that, call me, especially in the city and county of San Francisco. Call me. And anywhere else, you got an NAACP, you go say, this school district is not being right with me. And they need to hire more blacks in here, or they need to do this. And you have to advocate for a lot of us super professionals that got all this education. We are sometimes pigeonholed until community step up and say, I ain't taking it no more. So yeah,
See,
I'm
Jafria, you gonna make me scream on here, because this is what I tell people. I had a conversation with somebody today. See, sometimes black professionals, black folk, we live in these communities where it's all white folks, and they scared to advocate and do their job because of the white people and the repercussion. I'm like, I don't give a damn. I keep telling black folks, say your say. And that's why earlier when you said the young people about burning the system, I'm okay with it. And I agree with you, Joffrey. When we grew up, it was this professionalism, how we deal with people in corporate America. Now these young people just like the hell with it. And I agree with them. Why do we always got to diminish ourselves for white folk? This is why I tell the white folk that come watch this show, hey, you are welcome here. But I'm going to tell you what you're not going to do. You're not going to police tone my community. You're not going to tell them how to say things, why they say this. Either you're going to be here as a guest, listen, understand. I don't go to other people's barbecue and tell them how they're supposed to talk. I either be quiet or I listen and find out how do I maneuver in the conversation. But white folks want to come in and say, why do black folks talk like that? Why they so hey, don't come in here and police tone my people. I don't agree with that. But I agree with you, John Fred. Like, I'm so glad you say this, because you make me want to shout, because this is stuff that I'm saying. We have to stop as black folks. And we just got to tell these people what it is, how you want, and that's it. And it has to be okay. I still agree there's a level of professionalism, but at the end of the day, the point is the point. I need black folks, because I'm going to talk to these educated black folks. I'm glad you're here. And I know what realm you stand on, Joffrey, but there's so many of our black educated people in this country who climb the educational ladder, who climb the corporate ladder. And I'm like, what the hell you do all this for? You scared of these white folks? You should be the one speaking up the most. You got the degree. You got all this information. Oh, I'm in this sorority. I'm in this fraternity. And then when it's time to get in here and talk about what's going on, these folks sit here quiet. Oh, but then they want to come to the room and tell me, you got to call me doctor. Oh, you got to call me this. I got to pee. I don't care about the damn sorority. I don't care about your education. What are you doing to help my people?
With John, them you know them still house Negroes still exist. Like, this goes back to slavery days. And Sister Joffrey, I'm so glad that we have somebody authentic like you in that gap space, because again, anybody who's historically astute and aware understands the system set up. We're intentionally set up to keep us in an oppressed position, even while they use propaganda to say otherwise. We know we are at the bottom of every measurable category. So when we have somebody like you who has the education, the degree, and the position, but also the heart to say, hey, before you run over there to that system to get what you need, here's what you can say and here's what you shouldn't say. A lot of times we've had such a disconnection because we've had that house Negro, field Negro mentality that keeps us divided, that we don't know how to collaborate in different spaces so we can all move forward together on code. And to have you actually teaching people how to properly advocate with the system while still maintaining code is such a blessing to have. And again, I would really, I'm big on relationships. One of the biggest things, and just kind of bringing this back to parenting, a lot of us were raised in that time where a lot of things were swept under the rug. They weren't talked about. And we kind of kept that. But as we've moved forward and seen the young people coming up who ain't got that kind of fear in them, we still have to work to be authentic with our young people and humble ourselves to have authentic relationships, because a lot of us are still trying to hold on to our positions of influence and authority, but we not giving the young people the real. We trying to keep them corralled so they don't rock the boat with the system. We have to get away from that, and we have to be courageous enough to empower our young people and support them so they can learn from our mistakes so that they can continue to burn the system down and rebuild it better.
And Mark, I want to add this, and I'm happy you here too for a couple of reasons, Joffrey, because we have some amazing young people who are part of our team from USF, and these young people, they backstage listening, and we always want to empower our young people. And for all of the young attorneys coming out here, see, this is when we talk about model behavior. See, Joffrey is the model you want to look at. She's an attorney. but she knows how to talk with the people in the community. She's not letting her law degree and all her, you know what I'm saying? She is still fighting for the people. And I'm like, Jafria, we have to put this in our young people so they understand. Yeah, you have a degree. Yes, you have a certain professional etiquette that you have to have, but it's okay to advocate for your people. It's okay to call it who it is. And I think it was on display last week, Mark. I was watching a YouTube video of the police chief of Baton Rouge. He was at a community meeting, a council meeting. And let me tell you, this brother had enough. And this is what we need more of our elected officials, police chiefs, teachers, principals, to just say enough's enough. And that brother let loose. Now, he didn't go all crazy, but he let him know this is the problem. Because if we don't start speaking up, Jafria, you so right. If we don't start just being who we are and letting each other know it's okay to be Black, we're not going to change this narrative. I'm serious. We are not going to make this change. We have to be okay in our Blackness, and we got to combat this anti-Blackness that's going on across this country. And we got to stop this suppression and oppression and just say, this is what it is. Your voice is very important. I keep telling people, the change happened when the voices are amplified. Community is no longer the opportunity to stand in silence. We must uplift our voices. We must activate. We must mobilize. And we must work together. The only way we're going to change it, and we got to pass the torch to the young people. We cannot have no more of our senators like Dianne Feinstein holding seats to their 90.
Bruh.
We can't do this. All of the politicians, all of the people out there, we have to find a way to pass the torch to our young people so that the movement continues, so that we're not having this gap of no leadership or the confusion. You see what I'm saying? And again, much respect to Dianne Feinstein, all the amazing work she's done. But again, when you look at the model, and we see this across the board, these senators, these Congress people, they are sitting in these seats too long, and they are holding up the progression and the change of this country. And now is the time. We need young people to stand up, get involved. We need the elders to pass the torch, share the information, equip our young people so that they can finish this race that we have to continue to fight. The marathon continues. But go ahead, Jafria.
No, I mean, I definitely agree with you. But this is what I will say is that a lot of us, and I sit in the nonprofit space as well as you, John, everything, but we have to have an economic push too. The reason why people sit in seats and places longer, because it's an economic advancement. Okay, we have to understand economics in our community. And so one of the things when I've started out the conversation, I talked about a lot of problems in the Black family. The reason why domestic violence is prevalent, the reason why drugs is prevalent, and the reason why low school achievement, everything is poverty. Poverty. And we need, not only do we need better, good Black fathers, good Black mothers, we need good Black business owners. And economics, it is three things. Like, if I could say, is that in order to have healthy families, you got to have healthy women. You have to have healthy women. Healthy women curate healthy men. And then healthy women and healthy men make healthy children that then make healthy communities, that then can make healthy businesses. So we have to work on our business. Everybody want to say education. No. We need to business. There's people come to this country that can't even speak the language going in business. Economics is a key component. We have to be legislatively astute. You don't vote for people just because they're Black. You vote because you're supposed to get some resources, because that go back to economics. And then 3, you really have to, once again, be a collective. I don't care if you are LGBT. I don't care if you're old. I don't care if you Black elite. I don't care if you Black poor on drugs. It is a Black issue. And we have to stay on one accord of Blackness. We can't subdivide when Black people as a whole is falling apart. We have to stay Right now, it's Black. All these subgroups, I can't address. Right here, this is for Black people, whatever your pronouns are, whatever your political affiliation, because Black people, we don't have a means of where we get our information from. That is a big loss if we don't have, like, this is a great platform, but it can be bigger. Like I talked to Amelia at the Sun Reporter, like, you have to control your media because this is how your narrative come back to your people. And if we don't know where to get our narrative, and if it's not right, then we're everywhere. And that is a problem with Black people right now, is that everybody is everywhere, and it's so easy to change our narrative or rewrite it or make John look bad because somebody has infiltrated wealth to change the narrative about who John is. And I'd be like, I've been knowing him since he was like 10. How could that be? But I mean, it is really, I hate to say it, like, people be like, the man, it is really systems out here that exert a ton of money to keep us in the position that we are in. It is a ton of money. And they will overdo all the nonprofit stuff. We need more Black businesses, because I can't, when I'm having an activist and whatever, I don't have no big billionaire, even a millionaire business to be like, can you be a sponsor to this event? So that's what they have in the South that we don't have, right? Or even up in LA or it's in Oakland. But San Francisco, the number of Black businesses is so small, and those that's able to hire more than one person. You know what I'm saying? You have to have, it's like Sim City. You got to have everything. Like, you got to have businesses. You got to have clergy. You got to have doctors. You got to have educators. You got to have me, like your activists, right? Your lawyers. You have to have the whole thing. And we have a lot of deficiencies where when you want to come young people into this, grab an area that we don't have, because we need more Black doctors. We need more Black educators. We need more Blacks in special education educators, and different stuff. And then the old people be saying, well, who gonna take it up if I let it go? Because a lot of people, there's a lot of work some of these older people is holding on to. And we know it. We be like, damn, he a part of that too? No, I want to go party. So we have to also know, as we doing the transition of power, we got to make sure that we're equipping the young people with the right resources.
Do we freeze up, or is it just me?
I think Jafria might have froze up.
Okay, well, hopefully it gets back. But she just hit on something. Does our community recognize the time and how urgent us getting our stuff together is? Because one of the things that I think we all struggle with, but particularly I know is a challenge for young people, is the distraction of entertainment versus doing the work that has to be done. How do we address that?
And I hear it. I told y'all they gonna come for me. They gonna spend a lot of money to shut me up. Because anybody that love Black people, anybody that's about mobilizing and organizing, they gonna find a way to put everything they can in this on my name. I'm okay with that. But Mark, the thing that I want to say is this, and Jafria hit it. See, to change the narrative, you have to control the media. And I keep telling all these people, I know there's not a lot of money. We need more money. But the amount of nonprofits that we have in San Francisco, the amount of money that's coming along in San Francisco. See, we have to educate our people about the importance of media, marketing, and that narrative. Because there's enough nonprofits in this city that if they gave 1% of their grant money, 0.5%, to make sure that all of the media organizations in this city, even here at both sides of the conversation, do you know what kind of work we could do, how we can elevate our platform? I'm working off crumbs here, community. That's why I'm holding my sign in the middle of the street. Please donate, feed me, help me, okay? But I'm not afraid to ask for it. But Jafria is right. I know they coming for me. How can I not expect it? Look at the Black Panthers. Look at every organization that mobilized to bring Black people together. What do you think they do? See, it is time for us to stick behind each other and uplift each other. Everybody in our community, there's nobody perfect. We all got flaws. We all got our issues. But we got to stick together and say, it's okay. You know what? This area, this person ain't strong with, but as a community, we going to support them, get them the training, get them what they need to be better because we know their heart. See, I don't care about what people think about me. What I want to know is the consistency. Do I show up? Do I uplift my people? Am I where I'm supposed to be when I'm needed? How do I move my people forward? That's all I want them to know. Because you're going to have your personal issues with me. I get it. I'm the bishop. I say things that drive people nervous. I do things that people don't always agree with. I'm not perfect. But when it comes to my people, when it comes to my principle about elevating Black people, creating a Black ecosystem, making sure that we uplift each other, making sure we highlight the things that need to be, I'm the first one there. Believe me, I will be there. Now, my personal life is my personal life. I'm not perfect. Every day I'm evolving to be better. But when it comes to this work, when it comes to my youth, when it comes to my elders, I'm going to do that work. And yes, I'm going to hold people accountable. Elders, children, parents. It's not going to always be comfortable. And that's another thing in the Black community we have to be okay with. We have to be okay with accountability. Everything is not going to be peaches and cream. And again, we have to stand up because we are the voices that are going to make the change. And again, I heard somebody say it. I don't know if it's Jafria. Too many times in our community, we are sweeping stuff under the rugs. If we want to change this, Mark, we got to call it out. We got to name it. When it ain't right, we just got to say it ain't right. We got to call it out because I'm telling you, we're passing down this trauma to the next generation of kids. If we got an elder in the community that's touching on little girls, we got to call it out. We can't just say, oh, the little girl making up. No, we got to call it out. If we got somebody that's poverty pimping in our community, we got to call them out. But see, we got to do it together. We can't have one or two people saying this is not okay. We all got to stand together and say, hey, this is not okay, and we're not going to happen. Just like with Black Women Revolt, Black men, I'm not okay with domestic violence. I'm going to stand with my sister. It's not okay. I'm not going to sit there for one brother and say, well, you know, she kind of deserved it. She swung at you. No, it is not okay, fellas. See, we have to stand together when things are not okay if we really want change. And it's hard. It's uncomfortable, but we got to do it. So I'm okay for all the people that's coming from me. I understand the responsibility of what I got to deal with. But I guarantee
I'm back. Let me interject this. Black is that Black men, if you ever dated a woman and say, ooh, she crazy, you are a victim of domestic violence, most likely. And so we mask it in different ways. Girls might say she beating on me, he's beating on me, and you be like, oh, you're a victim of domestic violence. But I've heard men say, like, she throwing bleach on my clothes, or she broke my windows, chasing me, calling me nonstop. One of the components of a domestic violence restraining order is to disturb your peace. And so if someone is calling your phone or all over your social media and everything, that is not you like a stalker or whatever. No, those are domestic violence characteristics that we put in restraining orders. And so we need men to also verbalize, because a lot of times be like, oh, and I've heard it in community, like, oh, you be like, oh, you don't mess up. Oh, she crazy. And what is crazy? What is crazy? Let's define that. And then you start saying, and you say, well, imagine if you did that to her, what would happen to you? And so we also have to understand that domestic violence is not only men perpetrating that onto women, it is also women perpetrating onto men. And it doesn't have to be physical. If domestic violence is about financial,
verbal,
it could be financial, emotional, physical. It's many different. It's about power and control. And it's a lot of men that suffer from it, but because they don't want to talk about it, or they just be like, she crazy or whatever, and you know it. And that's why when I say iron sharpen iron, is that when you have these men groups, You need someone like me to come over and tell you the elements of the law. And you need to know, because healthy relationships is not just for women to know about it. It's also for men. Just like if a man does egregious domestic violence and has to go to jail or get assigned to Men Alive, he's learning these important principles to not reoffend. And if sisters, if we're going to stay with these men, we need to go to some kind of course to know about the new man that's coming into the household. And so a lot of times what happens is that we'll have men complete 52 weeks, and some of them really are rehabilitated. And then they leave the relationship because we didn't do the work with the sister to make sure she was ready to receive this new man. And then you have sisters then bitter because he didn't took you through the ringer. I mean, harmed you, and you can go through all that. And now he's a perfect husband for the next person, right? But because these are systems not created to put family first, they send the man off for his own pilgrimage to deal with his own trauma because now he has a criminal record. But then they don't help you, the sister that's going to deal with this new man, deal with this relationship. And so we have to, that's why I say we have to push for families. If the relationship is going to stay intact, if this man is doing 52 weeks, my sisters that need to do at least 12 weeks to understand the man that they are going to receive. And so that the healthy relationship that he hopes to bring to the household, that she can also provide that. And they're not triggering each other that cause them to go down the route of him being a criminal now because of domestic violence and forced to these classes. And so we have to have these hard conversations, but these are great conversations because my whole goal is promoting great Black families. And you can start off a bad family and turn out to be a great one. It's nothing is a zero-sum game into death. But I've seen a lot of sisters be upset and men go on and you be like, dang, you see how Rob is with that new wife? Because Rob is a new man.
Oh, sis, I'm glad you brought that. Oh, go ahead, Sister Ayo.
I just want to say, think about that dynamic, right? When it is on the other, the shoe is on the other foot. And the woman is the one who is verbally, mentally abusing the man in the house and diminishing and emasculating him. Think about that effect on the child. Rather they have a daughter, son, whatever. Think about that effect on the child in that household. Think about that mental cycle. Because women are, systematically always seen as the victim. You know what I mean? And so for a man to be able to have to vocalize and say, this is actually domestic abuse, I think you should go and get some help. Because think about the trickle down factor of what she's doing and how she takes it out on that child. And say the man ends up leaving because of being emasculated and going through these traumas. Now the projection is on the child. Oh, you look just like your daddy. Oh, it's your fault he left. Think about that cycle. Think about that mental. Think about that emotional damage that you're sending the children through. And I agree. There should be a program for both. If he's going to have to go and do the work, you're going to have to go and do the work. Understanding for both parts. Time to elevate. Because she'll get this healed man and still be broken and bitter because of everything that she accepted and went through and was thinking that, it's going to be better. There's still potential. And when he comes and shows up with that potential and you haven't done that inner work to heal yourself from that broken place, that cycle's going to continue. Because now you're going to be like, oh, you think you all that? I remember when you was beating you think I was there when you didn't have the mental strength. I was there when you didn't have these tools. Think about that cycle. It's very important, women, everybody listening in the community. It's very important to do the work for yourself as well. You cannot sit here and put this man on a higher standard and think that they need to go and do the work and they're the only one. It's both sides. It's both sides.
And I totally agree. It is both sides of the conversation and the street. But when you talk about putting together Black families now in present time, um, we kind of traditionally had an ideal about what a family unit was supposed to look like. But when you're taking broken pieces, essentially now people have been through trauma, various stages of healing, and we're trying to put together families now from quote unquote damaged pieces. What are some of I guess guidelines or some of the advice that you've seen in a practical sense that's worked for people trying to put families together now?
Well, like I said, the guidelines is also working with the women to do the work, especially if you're going to stay. Regardless if you stay or not, if you're going to get into another relationship, and you don't want to take the baggage that you have or believe that all men act like this, right? Or all women act like this. So that self-work, remember, like the core of of my organization is we believe how to change the Black community is through the Black woman. So we are trying to help create strong, healthy Black women that will then go into relationships that are healthy to produce healthy children and families. And so everything we do is about strengthening the Black woman. And then Black men get the residuals of that. So if that is, like I say, I love positive direction equals change, and the work that Cedric Akbar and Craig Johnson is doing. The younger generation, our age, Al Harvin, aka Puff, is doing in community. What Tracy Watson is doing in Sister Circle is that we have to go caucus. We got to go huddle as Black women and go over what's right and wrong behavior. And Black men have to go do their own huddling too, of that. I believe in the different sexes going together and helping to correct behavior. And people that are in good relationship, don't just sit in your good relationship and just be like, my life is good. I don't know about them out there. Invest back in community. If God has blessed you with great children and blessed you with a great spouse, it is your duty to mentor others about that and say what is healthy and what is not healthy. And if your children is good and they like good looking out daddy and mom, it is their duty to go mentor their peers, because what I'm saying to my 19-year-old at 43 ain't gonna sound good, but her telling to another 19-year-old or 21-year-old, they'll understand that better. And yes, I see on their village. It is about the village, and not like we go back to the educated ones that John was talking about, because I'm up there and I'm a part of some of those high societies, is that you have to, if we are not taking care of what's going on the streets and at the ground level, your kids ain't protected. Your kids will mess with the kids from the community that you're trying to avoid. And you ain't gonna know why, because you gotta invest. Anybody that's in our community, everybody, because see, that's one thing that integration did to us, is that you took the best and brightest out the community and then you left it. And so historically, we was all together. And so these kind of norms and decorum was able to be checked faster and supported. But now we have communities with high concentration of some of the worst social ills of drugs, mental health, low cognitive abilities and stuff. And so we have to invest in our poorest parts of the community. I don't want to hear nobody say, I made it. If you made it and you don't want to come back, send your money, because I'm never leaving. You feel what I'm saying? So send your money. Like you hear John screaming for money, because money is important. We don't need all the money, because Black people have known to make a dollar. I mean, a dollar out of 15 cents. But you need money to make change. And some early seed money can help us when we advocating at the government level to get stuff like Dreamkeeper. Dreamkeeper has afforded us a huge opportunity in the city to try to knock down social ills. I think we can add a little bit more in economics, but it didn't level the playing field, but it is put out there for innovative ideas to try to deal with the problems that we have here in San Francisco. And so it is a village, and it is everyone's duty to put back. Don't be like, I'm good, I ain't worried about them, because them that you ignoring may be bipping your car. Them that you ignoring might, you know what I'm saying, shoot up your restaurant, your business. You have to be involved with what the most poorest Black is doing in order for you to succeed at the highest level.
Man, very phenomenal. That brings me into a good point. I'm glad you said that, Joffrey, because I'm going to tell you right now, everything you said is 100 what I've been on. And this is why, like you said, policy and legislative, the process has to be changed. Because again, I keep telling people we can't heal one side of the community. And there's been a big investment. And this is what we talk about, these dynamics. When it comes to Black women support, mental health groups, there's a lot of funding that go to that. And I keep telling people, we have to invest just as much we're going to invest in our women to our men. Because you can't heal one side of the community. Because what's happening is, yes, we have women groups. Yes, women do a better job of coming together, having groups, working on themselves, access to resources, different things, right? It's not a jealous or competitive thing. I'm just saying we have to make that process the same when it comes to the young brothers and the men of the community. Because you can't heal one side of the community. Because for so long, all of the support services went to women. And then they wondering why the brothers out here still shooting at each other, doing all this stuff. I said, well, look, you invested in making women better, but you're not invested to make men better. And we got to have the same economic investment in men in this country that we do for women. Okay, I pay attention to this stuff, and it's not no a gender war. But I'm telling you, I watched the racist, systemic issues that impact this country. You look on Wall Street. Okay, a number of billionaires came together and they created this fund, billions of dollars to invest in Black women or businesses, right? But you didn't see none for Black men. I said, wait a second. The S&P, all these folks that's in here, they created this firm. And not saying that our women don't need a community. What I'm saying is they made the investment so that Black women can have businesses, get involved in the stock market. It was there. And I'm saying, well, what about the men in the community? I look at some of these programs and I say, look, they're giving women all of these programs. And where's the man at? Even in my community, D10, I look at where the money is going. I say, all this money invested into the women of the community. Where's the investment for men? I have to call it out. I'm not saying that it's strategically planned.
It is.
But I'm an observer, and I look at, why is it? I have to call it out. Yes, Black men, we got to do our own business, whether we got money or not. But when we have a system in place that is still perpetuating this separation in our community, it's going to hurt us. When we talk about marriage therapists, I got a meeting tomorrow with somebody, phenomenal sister. We're going to get her on here. But this is the conversation I'm having because I see all these marriage therapists. And when you talk about Black family, Jeffrey, I'm right there with you. Okay? I believe the way that we fix our families when it comes to building Black love within our community, we got to create a whole new process. See, I'm in the believing that all these quote unquote, because I'm telling you right now, I'm just being real, y'all know I'm gonna keep it real. I see all of these coaches. Everybody's a life coach. Everybody's a coach. Everybody's a marital therapist. And I'm saying, where's the couple therapy at? To get to marriage, you got to have good dating practices. To get to marriage, you got to have good understanding. So I'm saying all of these life coaches, who's doing that part? Because I don't see the dating therapy. See, because if we want to change that, we got to have a new process of dating. Okay, let's go to therapy together. Let's both start working on our trauma. Where's the dating therapy at? I don't see that out there, but we got all these coaches. Where is the family product for Black folk? I don't see it. Jeffrey, I will work with you because I'm telling them, we need a book for parenting. When we talk about Black parents in this country, we need a Black book on parenting. Let me tell you, I was a 17-year-old father, so I understand. And let me tell you, I didn't have no book on how to be a father, how to make great decisions, how to do some of the positive things that parents should do with their kids. I didn't know all of it. I had to learn on the fly. I had to make some mistakes. I knew one thing. I had to go to work. I had to provide shelter. I had to provide food. But when it came to the mindset of raising my daughter, I had to go through some mistakes. I had to network with some people. So I'm saying all these Black groups, these fatherhood groups, these motherhood groups, every time I go to them, I say, where's the manual at? Who's creating the book for fatherhood and parenting? Where is this section at? Dealing with conflict management, dealing with self-esteem, dealing with mental health, dealing with anxiety, dealing with trauma. Where is that at in the book? I don't have a book yet. All my educators out there, where are you at? Call me. Let's put it together. I think we take the life experiences of all of the people in the community, because there's no one way. But I think if we take a little bit of Mark, a little bit of John, a little bit of Ayo, a little bit of Joffrey, a little bit of this person, all of our lived experiences that we went through parenting, and we put it in a book to help the next generation of parenting, how to be that positive parent, how to create a safety home, how to create a space where you can have your voices heard without the repercussion of violence or feeling less than. Like, how do we do this? Because I don't see these books. You go to Kaiser, you go to these different hospitals, they got these books, and the first thing you see this white face on there, the little baby, feeding water. I said, wait a second. What I'm going to do is teaching my baby at the bus stop, watch out for the car that's coming by with the windows tinted. What I'm going to teach my kid when they walk into school and little Ray and them shooting at each other. What I'm going to do when there's a man riding through where do I teach my young people that? How do I get that to my children? Our dads out there need to be equipped, not to just tell your kids, suck it up. How do we have that emotional, intelligent conversation? Young brother, hold on. What's going on? How do we teach our dads to have that conversation? See, everybody talk about there's a conversation needed, but we're not talking about how to open the conversation, how to deliver the conversation. When your young man is crying, how not to say, just suck it up and be a man. No, brother, it's okay. Let your emotions out. I want you to get to a place of releasing. Because I want you to get this out of you, and then we're going to talk about how we fix it, how we build you up. Where is the manual at for that? This is the information that we've learned. See, we all talk about the health, and this is why I'm glad Joffrey said it, because I'm going to tell you, I hear it everywhere, on the internet, everywhere. Everybody's, I'm healed, right? You guys, women in relationships, I'm healed. And they never talk about what that looks like. Everybody's doing mental health, but nobody's talking about what that looks like. So all we got is a community of people walking around. I'm healed. I did the work. I'm doing my work. But what does that look like? I need to be able to display that to my young people. I'm in juvenile. I need that help. When I'm advocating for them to say, hey, you need to talk to the psychiatrist. You need to talk to the therapist. I need them to understand, where is this work going and what does it look like? And if my community can't tell me what it looks like, then how do I move my community forward? But everybody's walking around, oh, I'm doing therapy. I'm good. I'm doing my work. Well, what does your work look like? How do I know when I'm doing my work that I'm achieving the thing that you're getting? I need a blueprint. I need a manual. I need some help. Can we put this in a book, somebody? All of these game cards. How do we create a card to have conversations with our kids? Joffrey, when we was in elementary school, we both was. How was it? Remember, we was conflict management. Remember, we used to have the blue shirts, and we was conflict management, right? They gave us tools, right? They gave us a paper. If a person is doing this, this is how you intervene. You sit them down. We do this, right? If we had that now, if we taught that now, how can we stop some of the violence in our community? How can we stop some of this bullying in our classroom? See, when you take these things that are very organic to the upbringing of people and social movement and social skills of people, we are deposited negative in that area right now. See, everybody's doing reactive work. You look at the violence prevention in our city, it's reactive. When you look at the COVID crisis, it was reactive. Everything that we're doing is reacting to the response. We need more preventative. We need more tools and teaching to prevent the things that are taking place so that we don't have to react. This is what you're doing with Black Women Revolt. This is why you're here today. See, this is the preventive work. See, we're identifying. We're bringing awareness. We're talking about it. We're telling you what it looks like. This is prevention. But a lot of times we're on the reactive side. Somebody come to you, their eyes swollen up, they crying, they need to move. And it's like, hold on, Queen, you didn't see the signs before. How do we get you out of that? How do we prepare you next time so that you get the tools, you see the red flags and understand what you have to do? And that's what Black Women Revolt is doing. But we need more of this, the preventive work. If we're going to change the narrative, if we're going to really make movement in our community, it starts with prevention. Go ahead, Joffrey. I see you.
But no, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to have to, the Niner game did start. But,
you on cue. I'm looking at you. I already know Joffrey and die hard like me. It's that time, John. Wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up after this. Go ahead.
But no, I want to say that, one of the things, and we had a rally scheduled for last week, and we're rescheduling it for Monday, October 16th, to address, we've had in the last 90 days, 7 Black and brown women murdered because of domestic violence. Every Bay Area county, San Francisco has not fallen there, and we hope to stay out of there. But a lot of times Black women are more likely to die from domestic violence. And one of the reasons is the community stigma. It is that when Black women say such and such beat me up, we're the first to say, oh, I'd have whooped his ass. I'd have picked up a skillet. I'd have did all of this. But what you're really doing is you're telling your sister, go kill yourself. Because as domestic violence, it's unfortunate, but if you fight back, when you are receiving physical abuse, it intensifies, and you're more likely to die because the beating is more severe because you are fighting back. And that kind of stigma is killing Black women throughout the United States. Please, if you ever find your way, or even I've seen it in Madea movies, Family Reunion, when she was saying grit ball, and we all giggle, but that kind of mentality is what has been killing our sisters. And I want to say, and if it don't kill our sisters, it's killing our brothers, because a lot of Black women are in jail for killing intimate partners. And so we have to, that prevention is there, is that violence is not okay with no one.